Hi, welcome. This is episode 4 of a 5-part series of the best hearing aids that I found on Amazon.com for under $100. Sorry to say, most of them aren't very good. This video will cover the Britzgo behind the ear hearing aid. It comes in a blue color with a volume control and some program changes. Stick around for this video because I'm going to cover the pros and the cons, as well as an independent scientific study that I completed in an audiology clinic. Hi, my name is Dr. Ben Thompson. I'm the founder of TrebleHealth.com, providing telehealth services for tinnitus, ringing in the ears, and hearing loss. Let's continue with the review of the Britzgo hearing aid. We use a scientific method that is called real ear measures. It can be difficult for me to make a review video of a hearing aid for you when I don't know your hearing loss. So I had to dig and do some science study, and what I found was that in 2019, there was a scientific study that looked at 154 individuals ages 55 to 79 years old. What was the average hearing test result out of all of those individuals? Well, the average hearing test result for those individuals who had mild to moderate degrees of hearing loss was this result. I'm showing it on the screen right now. A mild sloping to moderate degree of hearing loss, which mainly affects the clarity of speech. From that hearing test, we work with a computer program that makes a prescription based on your hearing test result so that we know our patients are getting the most potential benefit they can from hearing aids. I took this Britzgo hearing aid and I put it into this real ear measure system and we measured how it went. Let me show you an example of a perfect hearing aid and what it should look like where it's matching the prescription very well. On the screen now, you'll see that there's this line going from left to right, and then in the middle of that line, or where the line is intersecting, there are some targets or crosses. This is the result of a good functioning hearing aid. This is not the test result of the Britzgo. I wanted to show you this first before I show you some other scientific results. Now it's time to talk about the pros and cons of this Britzgo hearing aid. Pro number 1 is that the hearing aid is under $100. You can buy it online on Amazon.com and it's cheap. Pro number 2 is that it has an on-off switch on the device, which actually most modern hearing aids don't. Usually you have to open and close the battery door, but on this hearing aid model, you can actually turn it on or off from the device, and that is pretty convenient. Now let's talk about the cons of this hearing aid. So it has 4 different programs. I put it in my ear, connected it to the computer based on that average hearing test profile, and I ran the response of this hearing aid in my ear canal. On all 4 of the programs, this hearing aid was overfit, meaning too loud. You can see here on the image, there's a big peak in the middle of the graph, and it's over those green target levels. That means for this person, the hearing aid would be perceived as too loud and probably too noisy. I also measured the complete volume range output of these devices from the lowest, softest to the loudest, highest. So let's look on the graph here to see what it found. The orange line at the very bottom is actually the recording of sound in my ear canal with nothing in it. So that's our reference point here. And then we see these 3 different levels of volume control for how the hearing aid works. As you can see, for each of the volume levels, it's far over those green targets. That means this is too loud, and if you put this in your ear, it's not going to sound pretty. Con number 2 of the Britzgo hearing aid is there's a lot of feedback. When you put something in your ear that has a lot of amplification or boost in it, it has the tendency to make a lot of whistling sounds. You really don't want those whistling sounds. They cause a lot of disturbance. And you might have been around someone who has an old hearing aid and it makes a lot of noise, and you might have thought, oh, that's just all hearing aids, but actually not true. If the hearing aid fitting is poor, it's likely to whistle or make sounds that annoy you. Con number 3 is that neither you nor me can size the tubing here correctly. When I put this piece up and behind my ear, and then I put this piece in my ear, you can see here that the tubing length, it's too long. I would love for that tubing length to be shorter so I could actually fit it more appropriately on my ear. It would look better, it would be more comfortable. But because inside of the tubing there's an electrical wire, you can't adjust or cut the tubing. That's a big problem and probably will lead to this not being comfortable on your ear. Con number 4 is that there's no Bluetooth streaming. You can't connect this to any kind of smartphone. Con number 5 is called the occlusion effect. There's some other size rubber tips that come with the device, but all of them occlude and block the ear. Now, that might be good if you have pretty bad hearing, but if your hearing is actually okay or mild in the lower pitch ranges, which for most people it is, then blocking your ear would not be a good move. It would likely cause distortion for your own voice, and it won't be a good experience. My name is Dr. Ben Thompson. I'm the founder of TrebleHealth.com. We have telehealth services for tinnitus, ringing in the ears, and hearing loss. This video is video number 4 of a 5-part video series of the best hearing aids I found online on Amazon.com. From what you'll see from these videos is that even though they're the best available for under $100, they're still not that great. Thank you for being here. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel by pressing the red button below, and you'll get more videos that educate you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.